This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Murphy.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I am Mike Murphy, the host of the Good Neighbor Podcast. We are a podcast based in Northern Kentucky. We talk to local business owners and influencers so that you can get to know them as people and not just logos or photo on a business card, but real human beings. Because, yes, by God, all business owners are human beings. We're very, very human. And with me, I have a human that you've seen on the podcast before, or if you listen, you've heard on the podcast before. With me is Dr. Bob Coppola. You know him as Dr. Bob. He is the owner of All-Star Chiropractic in Northern Kentucky. But today we're here. We're doing a remote from one of his other business interests up here in Loveland, Ohio, and that is the Rosé Boutique and Wine Bar. And so that's what this podcast is about, letting you all know what Dr. Bob's got going on up in Loveland. He and his lovely wife, Colleen. They've both had this passion for a while, mostly Colleen, but Bob's totally on board, I can tell you. So, Bob, thanks for having us into your wine bar.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.
You're welcome. Last time we did a podcast, we talked about the Rosé Boutique and Wine Bar, and I said, we're going to talk about that one day. And you said, well, why don't you come and drink wine and we'll do a podcast together. So, yeah, let's do the cheers right now. So thank you for sharing one of your passions with me. You've said this is your favorite wine, I believe.
Yeah, favorite wine on our menu here.
On the menu. So what is this, by the way?
This is actually a Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley.
Okay.
Jezebel is the brand, the winery.
It's very, very good. And also, you've been a great host. I'm going to show the charcuterie board that you put together here for us. So not only drinking, we're eating and we're enjoying life, which that's part of the wine culture, is enjoying life.
Yes.
And slowing down and enjoying the finer things in life. So Colleen's not here today, but but she is a big part of why you ended up starting a wine bar. How did this come to be?
Yeah. I had a business plan for a wine bar for many years now. And my wife always wanted to own her own boutique. And it turned out our son played summer baseball. Our son played summer baseball with previous owner of this space son.
Okay.
And they had a boutique here. They did a little bit with the bar. They have two other boutiques though, and they wanted to downsize. So they called me up one day and they said, what are your interests in, purchasing it and rebranding it and kind of making it your own? And it's kind of, Colleen was ready to get back to working again. And her passion was to have a boutique, and my passion was to have my own wine bar. And with my original business plan, I never envisioned having a boutique with it. So it kind of worked out. And the way we got the name was pretty neat. Our daughter's name's Olivia Rose.
Okay.
She always wanted to name a boutique called Olivia Rose. Well, when this came in with the wine bar with it, and then we looked it up a little bit, just kind of researched, and Rose means love. We're in Loveland. Rosé is a type of wine. So it kind of just came to fruition as Rosé Boutique and Wine Bar.
Okay, interesting. I may have actually called it Rose Boutique and Wine Bar in the past, not quite understanding the connection, but it all makes sense, Rosé. So, I say oftentimes the universe just kind of gives us what we need when we need it. Things just kind of happen for a reason. So that story in terms of how you came to find this place, that's kind of unique. But
a week before that, we talked to them about this. We never thought we'd be owning what some people call a bar-tique or a bar boutique.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. When I walked in, this is the first time I've been here, and I didn't know what to expect. But there's a lot in here. It's a very elegant, very warm place. If people want to come and drink while they shop, can they do that?
Yeah, you can sip and shop. The boutique opens at 11 o'clock every day. The bar opens at 4. But as you see behind us right here, we have self-serve wine machines where customers, if they want to have a glass of wine or they want to sit down, sometimes we get book clubs in here. They want to have a couple glasses of wine and they want to sit and talk and then do a little shopping. They're able to pour their own wines here.
Okay. So what does that look like? I mean, do you pay after you leave? I mean, how do you get a card to use?
You get a white card. It's similar to, I had one in my pocket here. It's a little white card like this, and you put it in the machine. And you can pick a full glass, a half glass, or a taste, which is 1 ounce pour. And then when you're done, you give us back the card, and we tell you how much you forgot you spent.
Yeah, I don't know. it's great for you, but can be dangerous, I'm sure.
Yeah, what's really cool
sometimes
about
for
the machine, though, is we have
shoppers.
some high-end wines in there that you really can't get at a restaurant or bar
Mhm.
because no restaurant or bar is going to open up expensive wine and serve it by a
Okay.
half glass, for example.
Yeah.
So here, this machine keeps these wines fresh for 30 days. So we
Mhm.
have my favorite wine ever, Silver Oak, which is a $32 glass of wine, which people come in here for $16 half glasses because they want to try Silver Oak without
Mhm.
buying the bottle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. I can see the allure then.
Mhm.
Um,
We
You're
probably
right.
sell more of the too expensive wines in there versus anything because people want to try them.
yeah, that's a nice perk of your setup here.
Mhm.
So wine aside, what's kind of like the next biggest category in here that people gravitate toward?
Sure, and it's changed. I mean, we're still evolving. We said we're going to do this for a year and then reevaluate what we need to do more of, what we need to do less of. She didn't have many clothing items to start, and she started adding them, and it's gone really, really well. Probably her number one seller, clothing and jewelry. Obviously, around the holidays now, we're almost, if you look around, we're almost out of our Christmas stuff. We had a really, really good first Christmas here. One thing we sell a lot of, is funny, is the jelly cat stuffed animals. We sell those.
I don't know what those are.
They're made in England. They're in the corner over there and over there. It's the kids love them. Not even little kids. High school kids, early 20s. They're real popular on social media, on TikTok.
Really?
We sold a lot of them for high school girls doing gift exchanges with their friends. We have a hard time keeping those on the shelves. Obviously, we have some food and wine type stuff because we are a wine bar. So she has a lot of different jams and olive oils and different stuff like that on the charcuterie type
Okay.
items.
Yeah. So before we started recording, we got to eat some of the items that you have here, and a good charcuterie board is something that I start to pick at, and before you know it, it's half gone. So
this is our small board. This is called our baby shark.
Everything's little, but
Yeah.
boy, it goes quick.
Yeah, all our boards are custom here. We cut everything in-house. We mix them up, different cheeses, different meats, different accompaniments. We have some dark chocolate sea salt caramels on there, Marcona almonds, different jams. Around the holidays, we've been putting rosemary and cranberries and pomegranate seeds and different things like that for our holiday boards.
Okay.
Like I said, this is our baby shark, 2 to 3 people. And then we have a great shark, which is about 4 to 6 people. We have a couple different whipped ricotta dips that are really popular here.
Have you ever put together boards for parties, local parties?
Yeah, we actually had a party here yesterday. It was actually an event, kind of a passing of the torch for a group where someone else was kind of taking over and they wanted to honor him. So we had our great boards here, the great sharks, and we did about 3 of those and had the whipped ricotta dip, and there's probably about 20 people here.
How many employees do you have here?
We have, along with Colleen, we have 2 other girls in the boutique side, and then behind the bar, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 behind the bar.
Okay.
So we have, that's one thing that, as you know, makes a business. They're customers and staff, and we have fantastic customers and we have fantastic staff. It makes our life a little easier because we are 45 minutes away because we're in Northern Kentucky.
Mhm.
Knowing that Saturday, for example, was Christmas in Loveland and we couldn't be here, son had a basketball game. We were really, really busy. We pulled up the cameras and we were like, oh my gosh, it's really busy here. But our staff, I talked to somebody or one kind of our bar manager. She said that they crushed it. The staff did really, really well.
How often does Colleen get to drive up and be here herself?
I'd say she's here 2-3 days a week. And on the boutique side, I know she's usually here on Tuesdays as her first day open for the week to kind of go through everything, inventory, and see what we need to buy, see what we need to shuffle around and stock, stuff like that.
By the way, don't forget to look at the camera once in a while. Let people see your beautiful face. Good looking guy. And I love the logo too. It's a nice looking logo.
Yeah, kind of our taglines are right here: make poor decisions as you're pouring your wine. Then on the other side over there, we have our Rosé all day. It's kind of a favorite picture spot for everybody. People take pictures on the pink couch over there. We have pink starbursts usually.
Yeah.
And they get pictures and post them and tag us and everything.
Oh, it's great. You've got a good marketing mind there, Bob. So when it comes to the wine itself, did you come into this with a lot of wine knowledge, or have you picked a lot of wine knowledge up since you opened, or has it been a bit of both?
I'd say it's a little both. I definitely had a wide background. I've been kind of a silent investor with a local wine bar in Covington. Kind of got me, more into the wine world.
Mhm.
I am a level 1 sommelier certified.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's kind of understanding, wine in a restaurant bar type setting.
Okay.
So I'm able to help people make decisions of what they want to try. We're real big too. If we have the wine open and you want to try it, we give people samples. We don't want you buying a glass of wine that you're going to hate.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to talk about wine. Wine should be discussed with friends. And we like to do that and give them ideas. We're real famous for, we do wine flights here. We get 4 2-ounce pours and with a couple different ones. Our number one selling flight here is called Totally for Girls. And it's 4 wines that are female winery owners or female winemakers. People love that. It's 2 whites, a rosé, and a red.
All right.
We have one called Shades of Red, where it's 4 reds, and people, red wine lovers, they get. It's a Merlot. No, sorry, it's a Pinot Noir. It's a Sangiovese out of Italy, and then a Malbec out of Argentina, and then it finishes off with a Cabernet from California.
All right.
Yeah.
We tend to go into the wine store and just sort of pick a wine based on what label looks cool.
That's very popular amongst wine drinkers. And that is important. And when we came up with our wine list, I couldn't put just all the wines that I like. And I had to watch putting wines that I don't think people are going to like. So a lot of times people aren't if you don't know a lot about wine, you might not be into old world wines, France, Italy. So I can't load the menu up with those. So we had to put some wines that are favorable to people who maybe aren't avid wine drinkers, but want to become avid wine drinkers.
Okay. So I assume if people come in and they need to buy a corkscrew, you can help them out with that too. And,
we got all the
send them home with wine glasses.
Wine trinkets. We do have a retail license here too. So all the wines behind us are available retail. So people come in here just to get a couple bottles of wine for a party.
It's merchandise really nice. So how much of that is you and how much of that is Colleen?
Colleen, 100% that side.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of my influence. If you go back in that corner over there, there's a couple guys, t-shirts, bourbon, a couple of things like that, some socks.
Okay.
But for the most part, she curated that whole entire area over there. And then for the wines, our distributor, our main distributor is Cutting Edge Selections, and they are fantastic. And I asked our sales rep, I said, how do I know I'm going to like all the wine that's on the menu? I can't try them all. And she said, why not?
Yeah, right.
So I went to the warehouse, and before any wine makes it onto our menu, try it first.
Okay.
I think first day we tried 39 wines. Now we're sipping, we're spitting it out, but we had to make sure I'm not going to put a product on there that I can't stand by. And even if it's not my palate or my favorite wine, if I know it's going to be a wine that people are going to enjoy, and then it had variety too.
Even if you're spitting it out, it seems like just like you could go nose blind, smelling too many scents. Can't you kind of dumb your palate down by tasting too much at once?
Yeah, there's some tricks you can do though. You could take a little swig of sparkling wine, which kind of resets your palate.
All right.
That's really good to do. Having some light bites like this can help that too. But yeah, you can get what they call like wine palate fatigue, which could happen for sure. So maybe the ones towards the end, maybe they're not as good. I don't know.
If you had to identify one wine that's the most popular wine that walks out the door, is there one?
I'd say we have a rosé on the menu that is really popular. It's called House of Brown Rosé. It's a good wine for maybe someone who's not into a real dry red wine. It's a rosé. It's not sweet by any means, but it has a fair amount of fruit to it. Maybe strawberry in the palate, and we sell a lot of that. And that's also a female winery owner, female winemaker, which we're tailoring to a lot of women that come in here to shop, so they like that a lot. I'd say our Cabernet. This one we're drinking here, the Pinot Noir, then our Highway 12 Cabernet, probably our top red wine sellers.
Do you have only wine, or do you have a few selection of bourbons here? Oh, don't know what that was about.
We don't have a spirits license here. We're flickering.
Yeah, we'll get that taken care of.
Yeah. We don't have a spirits license here, but we have beer.
Okay.
So wine and beer is kind of the same license in most states, in Ohio for sure. And the spirits license is separate. I don't think we're really looking to do that right now. We want to be able to pour wine and talk about the wine. We don't want to be a fast pace doing shots and mixed drinks and running around with bartenders. I know we kind of like our atmosphere here. I think we're unique because we are the only wine bar in town right here. We're definitely the only bar boutique in town.
Yeah. Nice, because this is a beautiful area and it's, I'm sure, well traveled by shoppers. And
yeah, it's like a little Hallmark town, and the city does a fantastic job of creating events. Like Christmas in Loveland was last weekend. The lighting of the tree was the weekend before. They do big stuff for Valentine's Day. There's only 2 Lovelands in the country, one in Colorado and then Loveland, Ohio. So Valentine's Day is really big for that reason. But there's always events going on in the town. The Chamber of Commerce here in the city, they work really well together, and each one of them hosts different events, and they do a really good job. The customers around here and the people in Loveland like to shop local. With Small Business Saturday was actually better than Black Friday for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think this place might be haunted. I'm not sure. Did you get a really good deal on this space? If you did, that could be why.
Yeah. Yeah. The customers here, we've developed some regulars, which is really fun. That's what you want when people come in and they know the bartenders and they say, "Hey, we came back to see you again," and they want to stay local here.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a great place here. You got a great thing going. You mentioned you were going to, try it for a year or whatever. Where do we stand on that timeline right now?
Well, I think as far as not necessarily try it for a year, but see what we need to do more or less of versus try it. And it's definitely been great, but we know like certain days we needed more staff because we didn't know how that night was going to be. Certain holidays or certain days, Father's Day was really slow here. We didn't know that. So we were extra staffed because Mother's Day was really busy. But so you never know. We're learning things like that. We're learning, what type of wines and what type of food and what atmosphere people are looking for. So we already made some subtle changes. We added to our menu. We did after 6 months into business, we kind of flipped the whole wine menu. We probably added 10 to 15 wines and took away 4 or 5. Certain wines are better for the winter. We added more reds for sure. Took some whites away. We'll add those back. We'll add different white wines. We call them our patio pounders. Good crisp white wines on a hot day. And then we have a patio out here. I don't know if you saw. So we can fit about 20 some people out in the patio, and it's dog friendly. And we have water bowls out there for dogs. We have a bike rack over in the front too, because the bike trail is right behind us. So bikers come on up here on their break.
So this learning curve of a year that you're into, you've learned a lot already, and you'll learn more. But it sounds like you've put together a great experience for not only the people of Loveland, but gosh, all your Northern Kentucky friends who.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends.
We want them to come up here too.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends from Northern Kentucky come up. We know it's a little bit of a drive, but it's very unique. You're not going to find anything like this. Would love to open up something like this in Northern Kentucky right now. The time's not right with just the cost of real estate and but I think eventually I would love to have it in my backyard as well.
Well, like I said before, the universe gives us what we're supposed to have when we're supposed to have it. So settle down, it'll come. No, it's been great getting to tour the place and see it and just kind of tell others about it. If somebody were to come in and they're hear what you have going on here and they want to come in, but they're not necessarily part of that wine world and they don't really know where to start. If somebody walks in and says, "I've always been intrigued by the world of wine and the mystique of it, and it just seems so classy and so fun," but they don't know where to start.
Sure.
Do you have a recommendation for them?
I do, and that's when I want to pour them a couple samples and try something. But I definitely have some starter wines. We don't necessarily have sweet wines here, but we have wines that are on the sweeter side. A lot of times when people come in, they say, "I like sweet wine." I say, "Oh, you don't like wine, do you?" But we have a couple of Rieslings that are on the sweeter side. That's a good starting point, and kind of that's kind of the path of most wine drinkers. They started somewhere, and they're not in the same place they started in.
Yeah.
New wine drinkers aren't drinking this or Cabernet. They're drinking more of the lighter reds or lighter whites, like a Riesling, and work their way into Sauvignon Blanc and then maybe a Pinot Grigio into a Chardonnay, and kind of that order of progression is pretty good for people.
Most of us started out with wine coolers.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's nowhere to go but up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've always heard that the longer you enjoy wine and try wines and just kind of explore, the drier your tastes run. Does that tend to be true?
Yeah, I would say you're going to get more full body wines. And there's dry. I mean, Pinot Noir, for example, is not a dry wine, yet that's kind of down the line a lot of times on the wine journey because it's a unique wine. Pinot Noir is very versatile. It's a fantastic wine, but it's not on the drier side versus a Cabernet. And then you have Cabernets that's from different countries that aren't as dry and has less tannins in there, and tannins that suck the saliva out of your mouth.
Yeah,
characteristic.
I've had Merlots that are so dry that my friends try it and they say this is like drinking cotton.
Yeah, it's very stringent. So that's the tannins from the skins, from the seeds, from the stems when they're doing the crushing.
I still have a lot to learn, and many people out there do. So you're the man that they need to come see to have fun while they're learning and drink some good wine along the way. I've rarely come across a wine I don't like. It's just that, they all fit somewhere in the hierarchy, and
they do. And there's certain wines that are great for food. Mm-hmm. And for example, our Cabernet on the menu, I think it's one of the most balanced Cabernets I've ever had, meaning you really don't need food with that. You don't need a big ribeye, marbly ribeye to kind of offset the tannins or the dryness. It's got the perfect amount of acidity, perfect amount of fruit, perfect amount of dryness. It's a standalone drink. Whereas I have some wines on the menu that do better with these meats and cheeses. And we have a Chilean wine that has a really, really unique flavor profile that does great with some of these meats and cheeses.
You do know a lot about wine.
A lot of practice.
You could probably talk another hour or two.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
All right. Well, I think for our first visit, this has gone pretty well. And you've informed us about wine and some of the other things that you've got here. That we could show you everything. We don't have time right now, but the best way to understand it is to come and visit you and see for yourself. Sure. But it's a beautiful place, and I want people to come and experience it for themselves. So our time for now is up. Once again, it goes so quick. Yeah. But quite honestly, I'm looking forward to shutting this one down so we can attack the rest of the charcuterie board.
Absolutely.
And drink the rest of this wine.
Yes.
And the next time I see you, we'll be God knows where. I mean, we could be in the basement at your house one day.
Might do that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. There's a lot of good stuff down there as well, I'm sure. All right. Well, Bob, thanks for your time. Thanks for inviting us in to learn about your wine shop here in Loveland. Colleen, sorry you couldn't be with us this time. We'll catch up with you another time. Don't worry. But you've put together a lovely, lovely shop here. So the Rosé Boutique and Wine Bar. Tell all your friends, come on up, buy some wine, buy some other things. I'm not going to go into everything because there's too much, but come check it out for yourself. So that does it for this episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Everybody out there, be good to your neighbor. Until next time, see you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Union. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpunion.com. That's gnpunion.com, or call us at 859-651-8330.